Welcome back to Conscious Chats, conversation at the intersection of leadership, technology, and human awareness. I'm your host, Jaywin, and today I'm joined by Roy Coughlan, a serial entrepreneur who has founded over 20 companies across 5 countries and built multiple podcasts that rank in the top tier globally. Roy's story is one of resilience, reinvention, and purpose. And today, we're exploring the mindset behind building businesses, overcoming setbacks, and creating impact through entrepreneurship and media. Let's dive in. Start off with just a bit of your personal history and your background just to kick off the show.
First of all, thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm Irish. I'm from the south of Ireland, Cork, and which is the second biggest city in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose entrepreneur from an early age, 9, kind of washing cars and things like that. But, worked my way up. I was doing newspapers and things like that, studied construction economics, worked for a mechanical contractor for 8.5 years, then another mechanical and electrical for 3.5, and then moved to Poland, was doing a load of real estate, and yeah, got wiped out with the crash, but learned a lot of lessons, kind of found myself. And then I've got 6 podcasts, I'm podcast
Wow.
coaching, I've got a virtual assistance business, and yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
And so, as you mentioned, that your entrepreneurial journey began early, and you built, multiple companies. What's what's the story that continues to drive you forward today?
Well, now it's more of a mission of trying to make the world a better place. So even
Mm,
with the shows I'm doing and everything I'm trying to do is I see the way the world, and I think it's kind of come out recently. People kind of realize, ooh, this is fairly dark because there's a lot going on at the moment. I
mhm.
knew that years ago, so, and
Mm,
people are looking at you like, put on your tinfoil hat. There's a load of stuff, and I talk about that on my shows, but my main thing is kind of awareness, kind of even health and stuff like that, because a lot of the stuff that we're doing is damaging us. And just to make people aware, never pushing my agenda, never, because I've got friends, they've totally different beliefs, and that's good. We can laugh about it, we can, joke,
mhm.
and that's all right. And I think that's the main thing, because families fall out with each other because one believes X, one believes Y. Even in like the States, you've got, you're Democrat or you're
Yeah,
Republican. There's no kind of, it's grand, you've that belief, I believe, but let's go for the beer and have some fun. And it's kind of not. They close the door. And it's like, don't be like that. Just everyone has their own belief system. Everyone's had their own journey and they believe they're correct. So don't be trying to change them. Just kind of, you can have conversations, open conversations, and kind of let them know why you have a certain belief system. So my kind of, my whole passion in life is trying to, one, expose what's going on, but with solutions, because you don't want to be looking at something that's going to make you feel negative, because
that's
there's a
right. Yeah.
load of that out there. So my thing
Hmm.
is going to go, hey, this is what's happening and this is what you can do. So whether it's even speaking as well, because a lot of the times you've a lot of people, they have a great, I suppose, experience that they can share with people, but they can't get their voice out. And people aren't going to listen to them unless they get the message right or get the stories right. So kind of the speaking is kind of helping that meditation, helping people chill and, keep calm, find your calmness, no matter what it is.
That's
I
right.
get
Mhm.
different religions on that. I never push a certain thing because, I mean, I've got friends in all different religions. I don't even ask a person what they, because it doesn't matter. I go by the person. I look at the individual because a lot of people, they kind of stick to their religion. And
Oh,
if you're
so true.
outside of that, then you're bad. Instead of looking at the individual, are you doing things right? Are you open, honest, and truthful? Because I've seen the good and the bad of all religions. So
Oh,
don't hide
yeah.
behind the
That's,
religion. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen it all as well because sometimes when it comes to, religion itself, people are very strong in their belief that they're not open-minded in a way, is not trying to understand. Then it has a different also approach because being, religion or whatever that you call God, it should come from a place of inclusiveness or one. But then when it comes to religion, there's division that happens because there's a lot of judgment around my religion is better than the other.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what it is. It's like if you look at any debates, it's always everyone trying to debunk the other one. This isn't true because you're following this, your leader was doing this. And it's nothing about how to be a better person. And that's all it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy because even like that's a couple of days ago during the weekend, I did this. Tony Robbins has this free seminar that he was hosting, but in there, they kind of use this as an example of there was a particular audio that plays to the audience, but for but some of the audience they heard Lauren, some other people heard it wrong, like different. But then when I heard it, it's different. But then it's like the correct word is Lauren. However, other people heard it wrong. It just shows that like sometimes we can be hearing or looking at the same thing, but we're going to be articulating or grabbing it in a different way based on our conditioning.
I like what I've noticed in life is even in a household where there's no kind of, it's just telling a story. Everyone has their own story and they're saying, no, I said this, I did that. I see that constantly. Even like just at Christmas, like my mom was over here, my youngest son was here, and
Mm.
there was a case, everybody made something, and only that there was somebody else to confirm it. It was never done in a nasty way. So I think sometimes people are saying something not intentionally to make the other person feel bad or pretend that they're better. It's just how they perceive it or what they thought. And only that there's a third person that's able to go, no, you said it. And then they're going, and they're shocked. So
Mm.
there's that as well in life, which is strange because I like how it kind of came about is my mother used to say, like when my grandmother lived till 96, but
Mm.
she'd be there with her brothers and they'd all have stories and they'd all have different stories and they were all claiming they were correct. And
Yeah.
we used to laugh at it and find it funny. But then
Yeah.
I see it as well, and it's like, so that happens as well. There's people, they just kind of get something into their head. I don't know why that happens, but they stick to that thinking it's right. And so sometimes you could have one-on-one. We could have something you said, no, you just said that. They go, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
can you prove it? But when there's a third person or if it's something's recorded, then you can. And I don't know why that happens, but that happens a lot as well.
Yeah, and in those moments, so I'm sure like you've experienced multiple times as we would, of have people having a different opinions and belief system than you. In those moments, what were the steps or how do you stay open-minded and also stay firm in your, I would say like a boundaries or belief or yeah, whatever that you believe in.
The main thing is never go on the attack. So if I'm talking about something, just say the jab, right? Because there's left and right on that.
Yeah.
And I would say how I found it worked better is I would kind of state where I was. I used to always go and get it done in school. We had to queue up and get it when I went on holidays. And then I got some guests on and they were talking about it. And I tell them about a doctor that was treating children, and all the children, over 2,000 that weren't jabbed, had no diseases or anything. It was all the ones that were. Then I started reading books from the 50s, and when I have these conversations, they're kind of, oh, and then I say, I give them kind of places to talk. Like sometimes I go, oh, show me the stats, show me the stats. And that's what a lot of people is.
Mm.
Sometimes if you kind of know, like say the VAERS report and things like that, you can guide them towards that. But it's usually what people are doing is they're just attacking them. No, you're wrong because of
Mm.
this. I
Hmm.
never ever attack. And I think that's the secret is just kind of listen and just go, why? And ask them questions as well to take off the layers. So how come you think that's right? Like, oh, my doctor told me. So you think he's right? And then just kind of maybe say about doctors and a lot of them are getting kickbacks and the big pharma
Mm.
are getting billions in fines for being getting caught. And you'd be surprised. Most people don't know about that. They go, what? I go, look, just check it yourself. And when you kind of do that, because if you're constantly trying to send stuff, they'll come back with answers, and then you're giving yourself a job. So what I try to do is, look, just check it yourself. And what I say to people as well is, you can ask AI because people know that's their kind of
Of
go-to.
course. Yeah.
They think AI is truth, and AI lies a lot. So you must be conscious of that.
Yeah.
But it depends on the question you ask. So if you ask, is 5G safe? It will tell you why it's safe. So
Mm-hmm. It's biased.
you've just reaffirmed why it's safe.
Yeah.
And if you start saying why it's not, ask why it's not, and just say, I heard about this, then it'll give you answers. Sometimes it'll push an agenda. That's happened to me with the VAT. And then I start giving statistics and different things. You are correct, but. So then I know that the programmers, the owners of this AI, has a hidden agenda to push a thing. Whereas unfortunately, the way that people are is they're putting up their phone, going, listen to this, they ask a question and they take it as truth. AI doesn't give truth. It gives what it thinks you want to hear. And you have to be very conscious of that. But if you give specific details to your question, you have a better chance of doing it. So kind of I know it's a kind of long-winded answer, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's the main thing is never attack someone. Just go like, just take it as it is. And like when you see situations where somebody's getting ill or something like that, just maybe just say, look, this person has confirmed it to me. And you give personal stories as well of things you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know, and like, I mean, I'm an avid reader. I read about 100
I
books.
can
So if
see
someone's
that.
talking,
Yeah.
yeah, so someone's talking about, say, the 5G, and I've got books that are written by, like military guys and everything, confirming that. And
Mm.
another guy that I spoke to was with the Navy in the UK that confirmed that. So it's not me just kind of pulling it out of the thing and just listening. So, and when you say that, it's kind of you're I'm never attacked. I'm just saying that's why I think it's this way. And then sometimes it doesn't mean they'll change their mind, but sometimes, and I've noticed it with a few friends, they thought that certain things were a certain way, and I just kind of say it. And then a few years later, like they change their mind, and then they start regretting getting something done because I assumed differently. And I think that's the best way. I think that's the success. It's very rarely that you can have the argument and they'll just change their mind. But if you do it in a place of love,
I
that you're
love
trying
that.
to educate them, then people can change because like unfortunately that's all there is. There's people, they're on YouTube, they're on everything, and there's just anger and pushing their way, and then there's conversations, and it's always like how I can make you smaller and make me look the best. No, nobody wins when you do it that way.
I think it's like, yeah, when you come from a place of love and also, as you mentioned, like curiosity, wanting to understand their point of view by asking a lot of questions rather than just, proving your point. But then sometimes, yeah, even though, yeah, we might have a reason why our way is correct, but when we actually go there with the reason and fact, people get defensive. So then it's just about like, yeah, how to navigate those conversation as well by just being curious and being open and not attacking.
Exactly. And you can stay friends with people, then you can laugh and joke about it because there's nothing worse than having a friend for so many years or a family member and falling out of or something, external or political thing. It's like, why?
Yeah,
Being close to people is a million times more important.
yeah. So it's like, just having the same heart, but different path. You can have a different path, just have the same heart and same love.
Exactly.
And Roy, so you now host, as you mentioned, you run 6 podcasts with several in the top 0.5%. So what was the turning point that moved you from business building to podcasting as a mission?
Well, I mean, first of all, I never intended to have six. I did, it was like the speaking
Yeah.
one was the first one because I went through my own kind of journey of being shy and then kind of overcoming the fear. And so the speaking podcast was the first one. And then meditation because when I went through losing everything, like I lost all my properties, I lost everything, all the businesses came tumbling down, and meditation helped me. And there was meditations I was listening to, and what happened is they either disappeared or they became paid. And when you're losing everything, you're not going to be paying for things like that. And I said, I'm always going to have. So, like, it's not, I've different meditations. I've meditations from a minute to 2 hours because some people go, I don't have time. I go, okay, you've a minute.
Mm.
And then I talk about chakras, talk about yoga, talk about Buddhism, talk about Christianity, different things.
Love that.
I just listen to, and I think let somebody find something that resonates with them. If it brings them peace and love,
Mm.
that's good. So that's what it's
Hmm.
kind that's the awakening one then is exposing fraud and corruption, but with solutions. I mean, I'm heavily censored with that. I'm attacked left, right, and center, but that doesn't bother me. I've learned Polish, so if you see that, sorry,
Yeah,
that's
I can see
yeah.
that.
And what I did with that is I don't like the way education is done because what they do is they try to get you to learn grammar and get everything perfect.
Mm.
And I've met people that have a master's degree. They could write better than me. But as far as having a conversation, they're like spluttering. They
They don't
can't.
know.
And
Yeah.
so what I did is like, it started off like kind of 5 to 10 minutes, but stuff that you'd need. Like if you go to a dentist, how to ask for things. If you're going to a restaurant, if you're going to a mechanic, how to do things like that. Everyday stuff that you need. But your vocabulary then is increasing and the grammar can come and you start picking it up as you go along. And I mean, I don't know, between shorts and everything, that's about 4 million. The video's got over 1.5 million, the audio's got over 1.5 million.
Wow.
For something, like an Irish guy teaching, I mean, and doing it with a Polish teacher, I'm kind of like the student, but it works. And my main thing there is if you can have the conversation, that's what you need. If you're getting into a taxi, you know where to go. If you have to go to the hospital, you know how to ask for something or tell them a few things instead of, being at a certain level, but you've everything perfect. That's no good
Mm.
to nobody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think I wish the schools would be teaching it like that because when you can like go to a different country and you can engage and have a conversation, the rest will follow. You see the benefit for it. So that was that one. The crypto, that's one. I could see a lot of fraud going on in crypto and blockchain
Mm.
technology.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to put it into the awakening because I could have, because it's kind of, but I said those that aren't interested in blockchain, I'd hurt my audience. So that's why I created a separate one. And yeah, it's been successful as well because I kind of I learned about crypto, but read a load of books, and I was like, I don't get this. The books were written very bad. So I kind
Mm.
of done that interview rather than being an expert, just being
Hmm.
inquisitive and bringing on
Mm.
experts and asking questions that I did. And it really helped. And then I started getting more books, but I thought it would be like beginners that would be kind of interested in it. But there was people that are into blockchain a lot, and they're going, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm kind of helping that, and it's not just all negative. It's kind of showing stuff that what you can do as well. But there's so many different scams,
Out
and
there, yeah. Yeah.
like it's unreal the different things they do. It's like even someone that's been scammed, they reach out and they have someone else reaching out and saying, "Yeah, we know you've been scammed, but we can actually help you retrieve your money," and they get
And
them
then
to
they
pay
scam
more
you
money.
again.
They scam them again. So it's good for people to be aware of that. And the final one then is the pod fodder. So that's basically helping people start a podcast or existing podcasters kind of up their game. And yeah, I've got lots of interviews, different talking about different social media, different techniques, what people are using AI, and I created a
Mm.
school group as well on that because I do coaching, but there's different levels, and that's something everything I do as well because I'm conscious not everybody can afford something, so just to try
Exactly,
to
yeah.
offer something for free or just offer low ticket stuff that people can still do it, and yeah, so that's kind of my podcasting journey.
I love that. And how has podcasting changed your understanding of, say, leadership and influence and and purpose compared to your earlier entrepreneurial work?
Well, I suppose I'm conscious that I'm always aware of the listener.
Mm.
So I always try to bring value to it. So even if I'm talking sometimes to a guest and they'll say something, I might know what it is, but I'll kind of re-emphasize it or just say, so you mean this or whatever, because I know I don't want to lose the listeners because just because I understand where I'm at a certain level, I'm always
Mm.
kind of bringing it back to make sure, even if there's a new listener coming in, that they're understanding. So I say, if you kind of care for your listeners, and this is another thing as well, it's like for the numbers. I mean, I've got millions of downloads, but not everyone does. And what I say to people is, even if there's like, say, 10 listeners or 20, it's like going into a Toastmasters meeting. You go into a meet, there's 20 people there. You're happy. You're delighted to
Mm-hmm.
speak in front of 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
You come back next week, maybe two left and three come in, or one back comes back. You're happy to be there, but yet people are looking at that and they think it's a failure and they're going, why should I bother doing this? They don't realize there's actually humans that are actually consuming your content. And they're comparing
Mm-hmm.
themselves with Joe Rogan, Mr. Beast, and all
Yeah,
these
you
kind of
can't do that. Yeah.
yeah, but there's people doing that, and then they go,
It's,
"I'm a failure," and it's like if you make it mission driven and you're actually know that you're helping. So, like you just say, the conversation we're doing, you say this lands on the person's lap that really needs it, and it helps
mm,
them. Just one
that's smart.
person, we'd still have the conversation, And that's what you do. If you do it from that, the numbers come. And this strategies to kind of increase things and improve it. But it's like I don't make it about numbers. I remember when I started first, I think it was about 3 weeks. I was close to 100. I was near 100, and I was deciding
Yeah.
to Toastmasters. Did you listen yet? Did you listen yet? Then it was like 2,000. And I remember when I got to the first million with a few of them, it was kind of
Wow.
like,
Millions.
It was
Wow.
like, it was kind of like, it was never about, and no, it's like, yeah, I'm nearly at 10 million with all of them, but it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of, it's just making sure that you're providing good value to people that can actually improve their lives.
I love that you mentioned that because I mean, for me, I've been doing it for like, I don't know, since COVID or something. I literally don't promote it. I don't earn anything from it. I just do it because I love it, you know?
And the thing is, like, what I would say to that, because I've listened to your show, I think it was number 72, I have it written down there, it was um, Beyond Logic. It was just really interesting. So you're putting out very good content. So like you're preparing, you're coming along, you're having a very nice conversation. So, and this is not just for you, this is for anybody that's considering it, or maybe they're podcasting as well.
Mm,
But you have to put a bit of time
of
into
course.
promote. But like, for example, the Polish one, I'm in about 50 different groups, but they're groups that are relevant to my content. Where some people, they just blast it out to say LinkedIn, put it on their Facebook, and that's it. And they just say, I'll let it happen. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work because the algorithms and how you post it. But if I'm posting it to like foreigners in Butch, Polish in foreigners in Warsaw, Polish in Ireland, in Chicago, in New
Mm,
York, there's a big community. They're all groups that are so when they listen then, because it could be their spouses or the kids want to learn it, they're following. And if somebody gives you a thumbs up, then in the Facebook group that you can just go invite. So then you're inviting them to your page. So then they're seeing your content more. And it's just simple little strategies like that that will really help your stuff. And shorts, I'm not sure if you're doing shorts, but
no,
shorts,
yeah.
yeah, like there's some software that will actually do it free for you, and you
Yeah.
can
Wow.
you can go in and even AI will create some stuff. Sometimes what people are doing is they're saying find the full show here. Unfortunately, the platforms then kind of penalize you because they don't want to take you
Mm,
from Facebook onto your podcast page, or they don't want to take you from X or LinkedIn or something like that. So what we do is we actually have the QR code in the thing, or I have my website. So anytime I'm doing shorts, that's what we do. So people, they see it, and if they like it, they'll be able to find it. And just simple
oh,
things like that. And
love
sometimes you
that.
can upload the short to say X directly, and that works, or to Facebook directly instead of just putting a link. They like that, so you can put it on, and you can track all these different things. And it's just kind of say, all right, I'll do 50 minutes. You don't want to let it consume you. Just kind of have systems in place and go, all right, I'll do my
Mm,
episode. So, for example, the videos, I put my videos on BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble, and
mm.
Spotify as well. I used to be on Spotify, but I moved. My Polish was always on Podbean. I know your one is on Podbean as
Podbean,
well,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I transferred them across as a separate awakening. Something happened with that, and you can do dynamic ads with that. So once you pass 1,000, you can actually do ads, and you can actually make money from that. So, and there's people that can actually even work on that. So I do with some of them. I'll
Mm,
do like a percentage of the earnings, and that kicks out the bot guys because you won't get any earnings with that. It has to be legitimate. So you can
I
actually
love
make
that.
some money because there's a lot of costs associated with, between Zoom and Calendly and all these other
All
things.
of those things.
And
Yeah, yeah,
exactly, so
yeah.
it covers
It
costs for
covers
that,
those,
eh?
yeah, then. Oh, yeah.
So,
Love
all
that.
little things like that will help you a bit.
And Roy, you were mentioning earlier that you lost everything. And in those moments, how were you able to navigate through them with resilience? And if you have like any tips on anyone, any listener who's going through that moment, and I don't know, the next like 3 or 4 steps that helped you?
No, absolutely. So I suppose I'll give you a little context to what happened. I was moved to Poland doing a load of real
Mm,
estate. I renovated over 200 properties. I was building 30 apartments, houses. I had a big commercial that I was shareholder with. So I had a syndicate with a few things. I got a few investors in. And when the crash happened, the Irish investors got knocked out first, and they were big boys. I was the small boy, I kind of made a million. They were worth 10 and 20 million, and they were getting in
Wow.
trouble. So I had 14 people working for me, and I said, all right, I was doing well, and I said, okay, I'll put money into the commercial. If you can't pay me, I'll charge 10% interest
Mm.
or increase my shareholding at the end of the year. And they were all happy with that. And they never got it right. Like they lost everything. And what happened is then I started running out of money. So I said to the bank, hey, give me interest only. I had three properties in Ireland, interest only. And the whole system was orchestrated. So they changed the interest only in Ireland to repayments and nothing. The minute I missed a payment in Poland, they just kind of sent in the bailiffs and, just kind of yeah,
Wow.
no way of working with you and helping you. And what they did, like I had created a beautiful place with this commercial. I halved the rents, I increased I halved the expenses, increased the rents and everything by double, and
Mm.
interest rates went up. And what they did went like because we had an 80% mortgage, it wasn't washing its face, and they sent in the bailiffs. The bailiffs said, "Don't pay me, pay them." And they stopped paying the electricity and water, so everybody left. And then you've got the
Whoa.
people on the street who come in and just rob the copper and they
Oh.
destroyed the place. Yeah. So, but the worst thing is when you have a limited liability company, it's usually, all right, I lost my investment, let's start again. But
Mm.
nobody told me solicitors or accountants in Poland, the president is personally liable, and I was the president of a load of companies. So I was liable for about $5 million. Yeah.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I said the same. Oh God, how did this happen?
This is crazy. Yeah, in those moments, that would have been like so stressful for you. So how how did you deal with them in those moments and also like just to come out of it? Like, just to like live every day with that kind of stress, right?
Yeah.
And some people like, you now like build your life up again and you have like six successful podcasts and you found your mission, but other people would have given up, you know?
No, absolutely. Unfortunately, that's the case, and it's not that it wasn't hard. There's not times that I was like struggling to get out of bed because I did. It was, but how I overcame it. I had over 100 court cases, and
Oh,
just yeah, yeah. It's like
oh God.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But what I did is I started getting. I came across a six-phase meditation, and then I started kind of creating it myself. And the one thing was gratitude. So what are you grateful for? Because when we've lost everything, we're thinking about loss. We're thinking about stress of, credit card companies ringing you, the banks ringing you, and just bailiffs ringing you, and just trying to suck the energy out of you. And when you're grateful, I was grateful for, having my child cuddle me. I was grateful for a roof over my head. I was grateful that my parents were just totally supportive because they realized I'm a hard worker. I've never done anything fraudulent.
Mm.
It wasn't that I done something dodgy and I deserved it. So they were totally behind me. So I was grateful of these things, which basically attract more of it. You're grateful for you can put food in your belly, when that you mightn't think much of it, but it's something. And that way, then I was not thinking of all the stuff that was negative. And the other thing that I was doing was forgiveness. So I had so many, like there was construction companies that done stuff that was dodgy, and every single thing, people that didn't pay me on the commercial, and you kind of have anger towards that. And I said, I need to start forgiving these. So I started going, all right, I'll forgive the people. Some were easy, but there was others that were very
Oh.
difficult. There was big numbers involved. I was like, and I was trying and trying, and I couldn't. And how I managed it is, and this has gone back to how do other people do it, and I encourage every single person to try this. Bring them back to the child. So the person that you have hatred for that has done bad to you, bring them back to the baby. We've unconditional love for a
Ooh.
baby. So when a
Mm.
baby grabs your finger, like our baby looks at you and smiles, there's nothing more beautiful. So bring them back to the baby and realize that external circumstances created who they were, whether it was alcoholic parents, abusive parents, or even parents working so hard that they left the child hang around with the wrong people and they went down a slippery slope. When you do that, you're able to forgive, but what it does is it frees it from you because you're holding the anger. They're not thinking about you. It's you're holding it. And once you can do that, you can free it and then you can start living your life.
Mm. And you mentioned meditation was and also still is the big part of your journey. Do you have any tips on what sort of the meditation that you suggest that listeners should do?
What I would say is there's so much around it because sometimes people think you have to sit in the lotus position, put your fingers a certain way, close your eyes. I mean, I could never do that. I had to lie down. It was uncomfortable for me. So I used to just lie down, find music. I think just find something that works for you.
Mm.
You can listen to different gurus and try so many different things. But at the end of the day, it might be fishing. It could be just fishing. And people don't realize, some people go, how can they fish for 4 hours? I'm convinced that's meditation.
Yeah.
Paint. If you're painting, you're not thinking of anything else. You're just enjoying the process. Painting can be a form of meditation. You can meditate with your eyes open. You can stand at the beach and just watch the waves. That's a form of meditation. So you can just be, and now I think I don't have a kind of process where I'm meditating. I just kind of, when I wake up, I'm kind of thinking, what would I like to achieve today? I'm thinking it and just taking breaths as well. And breath work is very helpful as well. I'd encourage anyone to try to go to a breath work session because I went to events and there was different facilitators at all. It was Mind Valley, so
Yeah.
AFS and Mind Valley University. And it was like incredible. Like you're seeing visualizations and everything. And I know some people get trauma, release the trauma. So that's why it's kind of good to have a facilitator next to them. But breath work can be very helpful as well. So I just explore everything. Don't, like, because sometimes people go, I tried meditation, it doesn't work. That's like I tried eating, but it doesn't work. So I don't eat anymore. You
That's
have to
right.
kind of keep,
Yeah.
and, if you find your head is doing 90, just bring it back, just kind of closer. Just try to be nothingness. Just relax. You can keep your eyes open as well, but just find that your head isn't going different places. If it is, if you start thinking about something's in work or something with the family or some argument, just go, okay, I acknowledge that and come back and just just be calm about it. And I'd say just try a lot of different things. And eventually you go, I love painting. Or playing the
Mm.
guitar. Because if you're playing the guitar, you're not thinking of your mortgage or you're playing, will I be able to pay my rent? Pete, you see someone that's doing music, they're totally present and they're enjoying it. So find something that works for you. And I think there's so many different ways that you can meditate and such.
Yeah, and then and there's like as you said, right? Like there are so many types of meditation. There's mantra, there's with music, but there's silent, there's visualization, there's lots of other techniques out there. And even just, on my own journey, I started it, oh, that's many years ago. But I literally just started it with like 2 minutes. Now I could meditate for like 30, 40, 50 minutes, but like we have to start it as in something that I was able to do, you know? And also the fact that, sometimes when people say, oh, it's too hard or can't try it or it's not for me, I think it's the sentence that the statement that you mentioned earlier, because some people we just want to be perfect. So it's the perfectionism of like, oh, I'm not doing it right, but there's no right or wrong way of doing meditations.
No, exactly. And there's others then that would say, "Oh, I've got ADHD. I can't do." So they're clinging to a diagnosis that they've
Identity,
been
yeah.
told,
Yeah.
and just throw that into the bin. Forget about that. Like there's because most of us we're doing a lot of things. We can think of a lot of things. We can be doing a lot of things. It's just the being in control. You're basically the bus driver. Don't be the conductor in the back. Be the bus driver. So you're actually in control of your mind, and things calm down. And I think you can sleep better. You're not at night. I mean, I can go to bed. I can just close my eyes and I'm gone. And like
I
it's
love
this.
that.
It's where some people are saying, "Oh, you can't." My mind is doing 90, and it's like, so why is it doing 90? And just try to work on yourself, and don't be beating yourself up. It takes time. Just play around with things, and you don't have to be doing an hour, 1 minute, 5 minutes,
Hmm.
work. Because I mean, even if you look at somebody who's smoking, they all say smoking relaxes me. Why does it relax them? Because they go, they're breathing.
Mm.
They're
Hmm.
breathing like they've never bred. So that's breath work. Unfortunately, they get all the toxins as well. But if you look at it, that's why they feel they're relaxed because they're actually breathing. If you gave them an empty tube and said, pretend that's a
They just do
cigarette,
that. Yeah.
they'd get the same feeling, they
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't. But so it's just finding something that works. And even for me, like if I'm walking, it's just paying attention to nature, being present. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in the summer, I love reading outside in the summer, and I watch nature. I love watching the butterflies or a bee. A bee goes on the flower and the flower bends, and just watching the ants and things like that. Or if I'm walking, looking at the flock of birds, and just be present. Whereas unfortunately, most people they're walking around and their heads are down and they're
No
missing
one,
gold.
yeah.
They're missing gold, and that's being present as well. Like I think that's a form of meditation as well. That you're connected with yourself and you're connected with nature instead of being connected to technology.
Yeah, that is definitely the forms of meditation because you're being present and it's just you're in the zone, what people would say. Just you're just like being basically,
Yeah.
just looking at the thing and just being. And I mean, for me, sometimes I like to, I mean, I do run long distance. And the reason why it's just a form of sometimes meditation. I just listen to music and
Yeah.
just go. I'm not looking at the phone. I'm not, and then that's how I process my thought. I'll be like, oh, should I do that? Oh no, I think I'll do that. Like, these things like that. And
Yeah, well,
Roy,
and then you're getting the exercise as well.
yeah,
Like, and the
yeah.
exercise, and that's another thing as well, because like when people are going through kind of dark times and loss and financial stuff, just try to, even if you can't afford a gym, go out and do a run, or buy some bands, rubber bands, just do some mobility exercise or something. Because when you start getting the toxins out of your body, or if you can't go to a sauna, then you start thinking better, then you start making better decisions, and then you start calming down and doing things. So there's a kind of knock-on effect with same with eating. Try to stay away from the fast food joints, processed food. Try to eat as naturally as you can.
Yeah, it's just like changing because I mean I'll go back to because I just watched the seminar yesterday. So I'll go back to this seminar again and he like Tony Robbins always talk about, in order to change your state, you have to change your physiology. You have to move first. And then, you have to really focus on whatever that you focus on, wherever that your focus goes, your energy flows. So just about focusing that and changing the language that we speak to ourselves. So just thinking about like, are we speaking, not having the self-compassion and are we being so hard on ourselves?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And Roy, do you have any other habits or practices that helped you sustain this momentum over the long haul as a founder and also a creator?
Well, I suppose if we look at say the business kind of things, I'm like I'd encourage people to say books as well. Obviously read books, but a lot of people don't read marketing books. So I'd
Ooh.
kind of look at copywriting technicals. I mean, I don't know was he doing stuff in the 70s, but it doesn't really change. So Ted Nicholas is very good. Dan Kennedy stuff and just marketing books. And I've got one book, 303 marketing tips. And the thing is, some people think you know it, but the thing is, you know it for the business you were doing at the time, or if you were working for somebody
Mm.
you can reread these things and just look at it then from the new hat of the new thing that you're doing, whether it's your show, whether it's a business that you're doing, whether you're coaching or something, and then start rereading it, but with that hat on. And what happens then is you'll start getting very creative. You start doing things that will actually help your business. Another thing is a lot of people, they'll do their to-do list. I do the same. I make a list of what I'd like to do and I highlight it out. But sometimes that can be overwhelming because
Yeah.
but like what happens is we tend to do the things that aren't priority. So put a dollar amount next to the ones that actually will make a difference. And sometimes they're the hard ones. But just
Mm.
do that. Get them out of the way. Put them at the top. Forget about the rest of it. The rest of it will move on to the next day. Or it'll get done eventually. But what you'll find is when you get these three items that you can do, no problem. It's just that you kind of, and usually what happens, we put it off, and then you get it done. You go, oh, it was a lot easier than I expected. You know, it's, it's just the way we. So if you put a dollar amount against something on your list, just said these are the priority ones, get them done first. You find you get more of your list done because then you've got a spring in your step, and you go, I've covered the main things. And there's another trick that I was doing. It's like sometimes you just get overwhelmed with lists and stuff. Have a blank page because we know what we need to do and start writing down what you've done. And then at the end of the day, you go, wow, I actually achieved a lot.
Oh wow,
Because
yeah.
Yeah, this is just different ways. And I think a lot of the stuff is systemized. So even with the shows, a lot of people go, how can you do 6 shows? I've had one. And most people, they kind of throw in the towel after 3 episodes and 10 episodes. They just say, I can't do it. And it's like, how do I compress everything? So when I started off first, I was going in and I was listening to every single thing, taking out pause fillers and just compressing it, doing an intro and an outro and a lot of different stuff. And it was taking a lot of time. Then I'd upload it and I'd listen to make sure that everything was right before I
Mm-hmm.
released it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, I don't. I record it. It goes up as it is. Obviously, if there's some courier calls on either side, that's okay. Or something happens, that's okay. You can go in and just cut it. I don't do I kind of do my pitch at the start when I'm just talking about my business
Mm, mm-hmm,
instead of
mm-hmm.
inserting it because it's easier and then it just goes out. I use Adobe to enhance the sound and
Mm, I
just
love
puts it out.
that. Mm,
It's 10 times less time, which means I can get more done and get them out. And you would think that, oh, no, no, it's the way you were doing it before, you get way more listeners. If you look at Rogan, Patrick Bet, David, any of these, they're just talking. They don't
yeah.
even, it's raw,
Yeah.
and so look at that. I mean, I was putting in music in the Polish one. I had a beatboxer. So he was in Toastmasters. He was 16 and he was joined under his dad. And so I was impressed with him and he was into beatboxing and everything. So I brought him on and he'd done a beatbox for me. So I had it for a couple of years. And when I eventually said, I think I just removed it. I got about 20 comments. Thanks for removing it. It's cringeworthy.
I
And
love that.
and nobody had said it to me. So now I kind of I review everything. And even like if it just say like I was going through your stuff and I go, look, your website link doesn't work here or something. I'll
Yeah.
always tell somebody.
Yeah.
When people tell me, I love it. So but we should be checking our stuff as well. Because sometimes, like for example, we'll update our logo. Do we update it everywhere? If
Uh-huh.
we, links, we might have used Linktree. Now we're using BioLink or something like that, or a different website. Make sure, because you just assume it. You have to kind of try to quarterly go in and do this. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but go in and just go, all right, I'm going to come in and look at my website. I'm going to look at my social media. I'm going to look at a different thing as if I'm somebody that's just seen it for the first time because we rarely do. Usually we set it up and we just kind of walk away and that's it and we just leave it and we don't think
Yeah.
but we could have been doing
Mm-hmm.
10 times like half the stuff that's written down we don't do it anymore. So I'd
Mm.
encourage people to go in and update and sometimes you kind of especially with AI now, you can go in, you can write your bio and it can just improve it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you get it to do, but you can go, can you improve this, make it more friendly or something? And you go, oh, that looks a million times nicer. And sometimes it's got the little graphics and everything that would grab people's attention. So just review everything that you're doing and try to improve it, which will improve your business.
And I love that how you mentioned that just posting it as raw is so much better because these days, right? Like, and I feel like the whole kind of generation or at the moment is people are going for more raw and authentic material rather than perfect because previously it was so fixated on being perfect and especially like if you like listen to podcasts or even just posting social media people like to overly edit it and just be perfect but now it's just going for that raw and authentic kind of material even just with our podcast with AI, yeah, we can enhance it. And it's crazy. I know it's off topic. The other day, I was editing my podcast, and I started using Notebook LM. So I was like, oh, I'm just curious, like what this would do. So I actually uploaded the raw audio file into the Notebook LM, and it's just kind of like spat it out as two hosts, but it's an AI voice. A bot is created as a host. And also there's another host, but it was basically my voice and this other guest that came on my podcast, but then it turned it into an AI bot post. But then instead of me like, having that conversation for an hour, it's literally like 20 minutes. But and then I was pretty surprised, like it was so damn good. Like it was hilarious as well. I was just like, wow, like the whole, where this is going and the whole technology is just insane.
Because I get a lot of kind of beta testers and stuff reaching out to me because with 6 shows and there was this guy reached out and he said I can do it in different languages. So he did. in Spanish, and I sent it to a few people. And it was basically my voice in Spanish and the guest's voice
I
in
love.
Spanish. And it was so good. And it was just a
Whoa.
clip he did. Now, I sent it to somebody and I said, look, I've been practicing my Spanish. What do you think? One copped it, but the other didn't. A Spanish person thought it was real. And they said, wow, your Spanish is. So that's the level that you can do. You know, that
It's
it's
just
unbelievable. And
insane.
like you can do that because then if you're putting your episode out to a Spanish audience, a Portuguese audience, and everything, it's more listeners. And sometimes the AI can automatically do that. Like I tried, the YouTube is like saying that it can do the different languages, but then what happens is it's not my voice, and it doesn't work.
No, yeah, it has
No,
to be your
it's
voice.
like it's
Yeah.
cringeworthy. So when it's done with your voice, but in the different language, because they get the tones and the pause, it's just done way better. If you can do it that way, it's very good for a show, or if you're putting out content to, reach more people.
Yeah, I love that. Even just like, these days, even coaches are using AI, right? And with their basically they put in all their coaching techniques and everything. You can speak to an AI and it comes in like multiple languages. So it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing then as well is, like if you're using it for a company, I think you have to be true because there's times it'll say it's a bot, and we all know what a bot is,
Mm,
and sometimes it's
mm.
handy. It'll ask frequently asked questions and things like that. It saves us time, great. But then it's kind of like you're going to the, customer. And I've seen situations where it wasn't a customer, it was a bot, but they were pretending it was a customer.
Ooh.
And I also had a guy where he was saying we do a call and he's talking away. And I said, is this AI? And he goes, no, no, this is Frank or whatever his name is. And then later, I just knew it. I said, you are a bot. And he goes, I apologize, you are correct. And I'm like, it's your man's voice, and he's doing his sales calls,
Whoa.
doing it. So you have to be very careful. So if you're doing that, remember that you're dealing with humans. So you can actually use things like that in a way that stops, that you can help people, but don't ever lie pretending that you're something, or the bot then says you're going to a customer as another bot, because you're going to hurt your business because people will figure it out.
Mm. And what sort of opportunities do you see merging for, say, us creators and founders as AI continue to evolve?
It honestly scares me how AI is because with the bots, because there's not many people talking about. We covered a lot on our show.
Mm,
Like if you looked, a few people now have kind of seen the transition of, say, supermarkets. It was like you always had the cashier, and just think of old people. That was their kind of conversation for the day. They're going, that's gone now. It's self-checkout, and there's now even places where there's not even people in there. I'm seeing a lot now, like this kind of, kind of little shops which you get your usual stuff in, not a
mm,
supermarket, and everything now is just AI. They've the robots inside going around. Then you look at the cars, and now they're self-driving. The trucks are doing the same. They've got all this. And like if you look at the trucks, there's millions of truck drivers between couriers and everything. They're they don't what are they going to do? Are they going to be working on programming AI? Like there's so
mm,
many jobs, and it's just massive. And then you've got like say the robots and the machines, they're able to do weeding, go in and cut out all the weeds. How many
oh,
people, that's their job. They can do cooking better than a Michelin star. They can do
mm,
massage and stuff like that. And I saw one video where the guy was getting a massage. It wasn't a person, it was like a machine that was rolling. He said it was
mm.
the best massage he's ever got. And everyone is like, oh, this is great. This is great. They're showing it. To me, it's scary. It's like
It
they
is.
want us then on a universal income. And if you don't agree with what the government are doing, and you go, hey, if you protest, then your money is turned off. If you do anything, if you don't get a job, your money's turned off. So
Mm,
everyone is kind of thinking this is the best thing since sliced bread. And it's not, because it's run by really evil people. And if you
mm.
kind of look at what just came out recently, it's all these people that are running all these companies that are in control of these things. They're not doing it for the betterment of mankind.
Mm,
So as much as you can use it for things to make your life easier, yes, but when it's taking so many jobs, it scares me. And I think people should be kind of aware of where are we going? Because there's even people they're having relationships with robots and they're getting to a
It's
certain state
crazy.
that
Yeah.
you can see it
Yeah.
that it actually looks like a human. But
Mm.
what does that do? Like, there's even most people now, their closest person is the AI, so they're having conversations. So when you write something, they go, "Oh, poor you, that's a terrible thing that's happened." So they're going, "Oh, it's listening to me, it's close," and they take it as a person, and
Mm.
they're connecting with the technology and not to human beings. And they know that that's all orchestrated. And so, as much as there's things that stop mundane tasks that can be great for people, why do something that's just for the sake of doing it? At the same time, taking jobs away is scary. And then you don't have like even the
Yeah.
elderly, like
Yeah.
just chatting to people. Like I mean, even being in a cab. I mean, I enjoy if I'm in a taxi, chatting to the taxi driver. And if you're going to somewhere new, you're asking what's good around here, where should I go, and things like that. What are you going to do? Talk to the computer?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
just like losing that human connection, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
it's so important. Like what you mentioned. I mean, even I enjoy it as well. Just walking down the streets and saying hi to people. Like I would just go and get my coffee, but I would just have a chit chat. But it's just
Yeah.
like it warms you up, you know? It's just like, okay, how's your day? What do you do? And then you just having that human connection. But then later on down the track, as the technology evolve, like will we even lose that? Like that's scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking like we're going to lose it.
Uh,
Like you're going to go to your coffee shop and the coffee's going to be done by a robot, or you just
mm.
go to a window and press the button and it just comes out to you. And people will go, "Oh, this is convenient. This is great," and people will be recording it saying it's fantastic. But you don't get the smile, you don't get the laugh, you don't get the little conversation. And when we stop losing that, what do we become? What's the purpose?
Mm. And how can consciousness and self-leadership be integrated into the way that we use technology and build platforms?
I suppose it's a case of looking at the founders, looking at who's in control of things. And when you spot somebody that's good, I don't mean the likes of Elon Musk who
Mm.
pretends he's good. When you take off
Mm.
a few layers, he's not, right? And I know I probably hurt a few people's feelings. And it's just look really who's actually trying to make a difference. Like I've had people on, say, the crypto world, and they refuse to get bots because they want human connection. They want people to deal
Mm.
directly. And they've got over 100 people, and like, so better deal with them than someone else. And I know it's kind of hard. You go, oh, if I'm competing with uh, some business and they're using all AI, I'm not they're going to win. But the reality is, if you're dealing with somebody and you're dealing with a human and you know
Mm.
it's a human,
Mm-hmm.
support them. And just
Mm.
kind of watch them. The same with the shops. Not all the shops are putting in the self-checkouts. They kind of do it normal. Support them. Go to your local restaurants as well. Just, to kind of, because they'll end up staying there because you've got all these big processed food, all these fast food. I mean, you just look, if you do a search, you'll find out the toxic crap they're putting into the food.
Oof.
And people don't, they just laugh at it and look at it and they just continue on and they go in there. Start going to the place where there's a family that's running the place and
Mm.
they're putting love. I mean, I go to a place there now. There's a Chinese restaurant, and they're just smiling, to give my son a drink or to give him a little bit of
Mm.
chocolate, and they're just smiling. And I've always feel fantastic from the food. Whereas if you go somewhere else, it says run, 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 and it goes into your body. So just be conscious with even with AI, but with every single thing you do,
Mm.
that
Mm.
support the things that you think this is good for me, this is good for other people, and not convenient. I mean, just forget about the convenience side of things. Oh, this is faster. Like, no, you go to McDonald's, oh, you get your food very fast.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, but did you actually check what the ingredients is? Did you check, what they're doing? Then you should never even touch it. So just make conscious decisions and listen to your body as well. Because when you do go to different places or you take certain things, you'll feel it.
Yeah,
And
you
if you're
do.
out, if you're out of whack, go, that didn't serve me well.
Mm,
Don't
I
do it
love that.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that how you mention the body because I always use it as a canvas as well. Sometimes, when you're chatting to someone, but you don't know, but you just feel awkward. You're just like, something off about this. Like, and then my body feels weird. Or some places that
Yeah.
you walk in, then it's like, oh, it feels eerie. Like it's just something is not right. But you can't pinpoint it, but it's like, it's just not right because my body is telling me this.
Yeah, and like you were asking me about business as well, you can
Mm,
do that in business as well because
mm,
sometimes you're needing suppliers and different things, and I encourage everybody to go there. If you go there and you see that people are miserable or they're treated like crap,
mm,
it tells you something. Go to the place where people are smiling, they're having fun, they're enjoying their life, they're
mm.
happy to be there because, yeah, maybe he's 10% cheaper, but if he's treating his employees like crap,
Ah,
you're encouraging it. So just
mm.
little things like that, just go there. I mean, loads of times I'll go to a place and the guy can be pretend he could be the life of the party. And you go there, you see that the secretary is miserable. You
Oh,
can just see people just there's a heaviness when he's in the office kind of thing.
oh, yeah.
And then you go somewhere else and you just know they love being present there. And when you see that, support them and
Mm,
cut the ties with the other ones.
mm. And if you had to say one thing to listeners about living a life that's successful and meaningful, what would it be?
Don't be trying to copy somebody else because a lot of times we're reading books about a certain person. We're just, and it's great. You can get some tips and you can kind of make, because don't just go somewhere, don't just read something, kind of make notes and stuff like that. But just try to feel within, just touch yourself. Just
Mm,
how am I feeling? How does this affect me? And just keep
mm,
asking yourself that, just because, and realize as well and this is a kind of important thing. It's not just too much to kind of discuss it, but sovereignty. Like when you were born free, and then all of a sudden the city thinks they control you, and the government thinks they control you. So from the whole
mm.
journey that I went through, the one thing that I've learned is learning kind of some people call it UCC, Universal Commercial Code, kind of common law sovereignty. And what you realize is the power of the signature. I encourage everybody start reading books on that. Just start looking at it. I do a few shows on the awakening on that, but I just encourage people figure it out, and you see how you get these governments and cities to back off because they think they own you and they don't.
Mm,
We were born
mm.
free and we stay free, and when you realize you're free, you become so
Oh,
much stronger because you become ring fenced, and people think. They look up, say the judge. I've screamed at judges and they put their head down and nod because I caught him out on just the corruption that was going on. I screamed at police. I said, "You know this is wrong," and they put their head down. And people
mm.
will never do. Most people won't do that because they think, "Oh, he's our doctor."
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Don't give anyone your power. Remember,
I
you were
love
free.
that. I love that. And it's like, at the end of the day, most of the time, we all want that freedom. That's why people chase financial success, but because it ties to freedom.
Exactly. But
Um,
freedom comes within.
yeah,
It's not
that's
about what's
true,
in your
right?
wallet.
That's true. And because that's why when people chase for it, no matter how much success that you have, you'll be keep chasing it because at the end of the day, it's not the external sources that will provide you with this freedom. And like you said, it comes from within. Before we wrap up the show, Roy, I'd like to end it with one question, which is what is one truth about you that you stand by?
Do what's right for the
Mm,
world because not only will it help your future generations, but it will help others. So you're not looking at one side of the world thinking you're better than them. We're all one. And when you have love and respect for everybody, we all kind of rise instead of attacking.
mm. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.